Hello, YouTube. It's so funny to me how when people have the opportunity to do the right thing, how much they can hesitate. Today, we're going to go through a couple stories and, in addition, a lot more information here. But even more so than people, particularly companies, when they're dealing with ethics dilemmas, it's always a step by step thing where um, someone has the opportunity to do the right thing and they don't. And then maybe they get another opportunity and they still don't. And they get another opportunity. The opportunities run out, but these things are usually like a cascading type of event. And it baffles me why, why and when uh, people at companies uh, why they think there won't be any negative consequences of doing bad things, doing the wrong thing. Um, but it dawned on me that some people are just dumb, and that could, you know, affect things. And so it was really funny because I had this conversation with my dad today about AI, and I was letting him know some new interesting things about AI that came out last week. And uh, it was funny. It's such like a boomer sort of take where he really was not very aware of what the rapid advances, especially recently in AI, are. And like I think it's pretty easy to look up that, like, the AI tools we have today can definitely make you smarter. And so, especially if you're dumb, like, you should be using even some of the most basic and available tools. And if you think you're smart, it can just make you smarter. And um, especially, if you're ever in a situation where you're not really sure what the right thing to do is. Like I have suggested in other videos to definitely find someone smarter than you and ask them what the right thing to do is. Um, but you could be in a situation where you're you don't have anybody in your life like that. And or maybe you think you're the smartest person. Well, you can increase your IQ by, I think they say, 10 to 15 IQ points by just using ChatGPT. And so today we're going to use that. And yes, this is a picture of Mr. Beast, who was caught doing multiple ethics violations. And these things have, by his company essentially and himself, have been covered on social media quite a bit. And um, I haven't really put a lot of effort into these. They're so easy to make, and really, like, I just, this YouTube, I feel like it's like super low effort. Um, to provide information to people. Um, and, makes me wonder, just makes me wonder, like, man, if my goal really is to provide information um, to the public that wants information, accurate information, uh, what would it be like to just move beyond YouTube? Maybe YouTube's such a boomer thing. I, you know, Sometimes I've wondered, what would it be like to um, be an information provider in more places on the internet? I don't know if you've ever wondered that, but um, we'll just keep it low effort for now. Keep it very, very low effort. The funny thing about low effort is, like, when you're doing the lowest effort possible, to increase the effort is like still not a lot of effort. Um, so let's go ahead and look at some of these. we'll read two stories and we'll look at some of these whistleblowers. Um, some of these stories. First one is Enron. A lot of people have heard of that. The VP actually was the whistleblower, and one of the impact is um, it. I don't. It led to bankruptcy. Wow. And new regulations. Theranos, whistleblower, was an employee, and the impact, the company was shut down. Oh, that's too bad. And the people doing the fraud and bad stuff ended up being criminally charged and convicted. Wow. Facebook Meta, um, whistleblower, former product manager, and led to some global scrutiny, growing calls for regulation. Volkswagen, anonymous insiders and engineers, and fines, major reputational damage, some prosecutions. Boeing, several employees, including this guy who I think was murdered in a very strange event, crazy, and ended up with lawsuits, public hearings. Purdue Pharma, whistleblowers were former employees and doctors, ended up in bankruptcy, money settlements, public awareness. Uber, former engineer Suzanne Fowler, and the impact, the CEO resigned, major leadership overhaul, and cultural reckoning. General Motors, whistleblowers were employees, and some internal memos. Um, and the impact, recalls, scrutiny, and fines. Wells Fargo, um, fake account scandal. Wow, people lying. Fines, long term brand damage. Lastly, Peanut. CEO was sentenced to 28 years um, in prison. Wow. And his internal emails. It makes me think. Um, it's funny because you think any of these whistleblowers, like, there's a reason why they're whistleblowers, right? Like, the companies, they will say things like, hey, you have to keep this information private. You're not allowed to say that. That's why I have a whole nother video going over whistleblower protections. Like, the idea that the companies, the CEOs, the managers, like, they tell their employees, like, they sign contracts to say, all this information has to stay internal, right? You're not allowed. We don't give you permission to um, let anyone know about this information. Like, that's in their contracts. Those contracts end up hurting other people. That's why whistleblowers come forward. And there's actually whistleblower protections. But you think that those contracts, like, no, you're not allowed to tell anybody about our bad things we're doing. Like, they don't stop people. Like, people who do the right thing, they're going to do the right thing. So let's look at some stories. This is like our IQ thing, man. I was saying, like, whew, you can bump your IQ so fast with this stuff. So we're going to look at two stories about the outcome of failures to do the right thing. Um, so and both of these are going to have, they're kind of like these whistleblower things. They're going to have some impact, but these are not when whistleblowers do the right thing. This is when you'll see these companies, they have multiple chances to do the right thing, and they don't, and they don't, and they don't, and the outcome is bad. So here's our first story. The title of the story is Just One Post. Okay? Willow and Pine was a small organic soap company run out of a renovated garage in a sleepy town. It was run by three friends, Mira, Jonas, and Lee, who believed in handmade products, ethical sourcing, and treating customers like family. Sort of like community. They wrapped every bar of soap themselves, tied each one with twine, and included handwritten thank you notes in every box. One afternoon, a woman named Tessa messaged their Instagram account. She said she had a severe nut allergy and had broken out in hives after using their almond shea soap, even though there was no clear warning on the label. Uh-oh. Jonas, who handled social media, froze. He he didn't want to deal with this. Oh boy. He didn't want to deal with something bad happening. Well, you better deal with it. It was just a small batch. Only 6 bars had gone out with that label, and the ingredient list was on the website, even if it wasn't clear on the packaging. She's exaggerating. Oh, not good. She's exaggerating, Jonas said when he told Mira and Lee. Let's just say sorry and offer her a coupon or something. If we make it a big deal, people will panic. She might even sue. Lee frowned. We should pull the product, fix the label, and post something. It's serious. Oh, Lee's taking this serious. Wonder who's actually in charge. Excuse me. Jonah rolled his eyes. Why broadcast a mistake? Ooh, yeah, you should broadcast when you make a mistake. I wonder why. Jonas rolled his eyes. Why broadcast a mistake when we can just move past it? Quiet. Keep it quiet, you know? We don't need that kind of attention. I don't wonder what the right thing to do is here. Mira was uncertain. Oh, not knowing. Maybe they should go to ChatGPT, but didn't want to push. Maybe Jonas is right. It's probably a one off. Let's move on. So they replied with a friendly message and a 20% discount code. No apology, no warning post, no label change. 3 days later, here we go. They didn't do the right thing. I mean, the apology as a basic, it's these people. They think their reputation is more important than doing the right thing. Like, the right thing is intrinsically linked with your company and your reputation. Like, and these people, like, their names are probably like on all their LLC documents and stuff. Anyways, 3 days later, Tessa posted a video on TikTok, her face still swollen. She held up the soap, showed the label, and explained how the company had brushed her off. The video went viral. Local news picked it up, then a regional allergy awareness group, then a national morning show segment on misleading labels and hidden dangers in small brands. Willow and Pine's website was flooded, not with orders, but with angry comments. Their Instagram account lost thousands of followers overnight. Wow, because TikTok? Yeah, I guess, I mean, TikTok does get way more views than this YouTube stuff. Wonder. Well, ChatGPT's smarter than me. Guess if I really want to inform people. So let's see. The angry comments. Their Instagram account lost thousands of followers overnight. They issued an apology a week too late. So this is a week after, like, the damage was done. Like, what you want to do, I think, is you want to get, not only apologize, but you want to get in there before the damage can really be done to your brand, um, and your personal, like, let's see what happened. Oof, gets worse. By then, the story had written itself. A small company valued its image more than its customers. That's pretty not good. Mira couldn't sleep. Lee left the business 6 months later. Jonas deleted his social accounts because it was probably listed like their name and everything. I bet Jonas put the accounts, like, for the stuff they do, like, right on their social media. They had built a brand on trust and care, but lost it in a single decision to stay silent. And the lesson partly is it wasn't the mess up. Everyone makes mistakes. It was the response to not take accountability. Ethics lesson. Avoiding responsibility, that's the key thing here, may feel like protecting your reputation, but it often does the opposite, especially when people are involved. Doing the right thing loudly and early is better than doing damage control later. In the age of social media, silence isn't neutral, it's a choice that speaks volumes. Wow. Would you have guessed that avoiding responsibility is bad and that doing the right thing loudly and early is better? If you didn't think that, then you might want an IQ boost from ChatGPT. Next story. This story is called The Silence Upstairs. Lumen PR was a boutique public relations firm. 5 people sharing a loft office above a flower shop. They specialized in tech startups, helping small apps and AI tools get media attention. It was a scrappy creative team led by Ava, the charismatic founder who could charm reporters with a 5-word email. So charming. Kira was the newest hire, 22, fresh out of college, thrilled to have landed a job where her ideas were actually listened to. She mostly managed social media and drafted press releases, but Ava often let her sit in on strategy meetings. One day, a new client came in, a wellness app that claimed to use neuroscience backed methods to reduce anxiety and improve memory. Their branding was sleek and their pitch was sharp. Kira was assigned to write copy for their website relaunch. While researching the app, Kira dug into the scientific citations they had provided and noticed something odd. Uh-oh. 2 of the studies they referenced didn't actually support the claims. Oh, they lyin'. They lyin'. One wasn't even about humans. The third had been retracted. Oof, they lyin' big time. So she brought this up to his supervisor, Sean. Sean skimmed the documents and shrugged and said, "That's not our problem. We're not scientists, we're storytellers. The client gave us the sources. If they're okay with it, we'll run with it." Okay, so this is where they're not taking any responsibility, not listening to a concern. Kira said, "But it's misleading. People might download it expecting real results. It's a mental health app." Makes me wonder, like, people might come to your nonprofit expecting things like leadership and community. Like, um, but question is that misleading or not? I don't know. Sean frowned. "Kira, we've got rent to. Let Ava handle the client ethics. Just write what they ask for." Okay, so we got Sean really doing the wrong thing. Kira's about to do the wrong thing. Kira thought about going to Ava directly. But get this, Ava was intense and always in a hurry. Oh, that intense personality. It's hard to confront people who are intense, isn't it? But you got to do the right thing. Kira didn't want to come off as difficult or naive. Maybe Sean was right. It wasn't their job to police the science. So what happened? She said nothing. What did we learn from the last one? Doing nothing is still a choice, right? The campaign launched 2 weeks later. The app got picked up by a popular tech blog, then went semi viral on Twitter. Oh, we always forget about Twitter these days, don't we? Wonder, like, you could get information out on Twitter. Huh. Influencers praised it. Downloads soared. But a few weeks in, negative reviews started rolling in. Users saying the app made them feel worse, not better. Some said it gave them false hope. Sorry about that. Others said they stopped taking real therapy seriously because they trusted the app too much. A respectful neuroscientist publicly called the app intellectual snake oil. The blog that had featured them issued a correction. Here we go. The backlash was swift. Lumen PR's name was attached to the launch. They lost 2 clients. Ava panicked. Sean pretended he'd never seen the studies, and Kira sat at a desk watching it all happen, knowing she could have said more earlier, louder, but she didn't. Wow. How bad would it be to be in Kira's position, knowing like Kira had the information? Remember, Kira never went to Ava. There's always someone higher up to go to, and um, in this case, the company, we don't know if the company totally went bankrupt or not, but we can imagine. Um, and imagine being Kira, knowing, watching all this stuff happen, and um, like the company getting massive reputational damage, um, and resulting in lost clients, probably, yeah, all this reputational damage, and knowing she had a chance to have done the right thing. She had a chance, but she didn't. Ethics lesson. Whistleblowing isn't always about uncovering crime or saving lives. Sometimes it's about speaking up before harm takes a quieter, more personal form. Trust lost, hope dashed, credibility shattered. Silence might feel like safety, but in hindsight, it could be the loudest mistake. Especially if you end up with like lawsuits or like losing not just reputation, but getting companies shut down. So we looked at earlier. Um, and so these are some stories about people doing, not doing the right thing. Um, so that is that.